Welcome back to another edition of Eyes on AFL, where we have a look at some of your football takes and opinions. After a few rounds have passed, to gather our observations, let's dive into the first topic. BTGO63 says there's talks of 24 games soon. Ken Hinkley mentioned that the AFL need to reduce game time if that happens, so what's your thoughts? There will no doubt be a longer season ahead of us soon. Gather Round added an extra game, so now we play 23 matches in 24 rounds. To me, it's already a brutally long season for such a physical game, and with the amount of injuries already this season, it proves AFL player bodies are already breaking down. With Tasmania set to come in and talk of a longer season, the question was put to Ken Hinkley on AFL 360 about his thoughts on expanding an already lengthy home and away campaign.
Kenny, what about for you?
Oh, look, I've been public. I think we can play occasional more games, but I think you've got to do that. You've got to lose minutes out of the current game, and I'm just strong on that. We don't need to play 120-minute games. If we drop that back to 100, we can get more games of football if that's what's required, but we can't expect our players, and we should not ask our players to play any more minutes than they're currently doing. We just need to make sure if we're doing that, we're lessening the minutes that they play in current games.
He has a good point. You can add extra games, but reduce the length of each individual game. At the end of the day, the total minutes should equal the same amount. The theory is good, but it does change a lot. The record book would be altered forever in less game time, and do we really need to add even more weeks in the season? Surely greed enters in the discussion at some point. Hinkley is spot on how to implement more games, but doing it is risky. We don't want to become the NBA or MLB, where there's so many games that each one becomes less important. We want every game to have meaning and the fixture to be fair. Both of these things you could say the AFL is walking on a tightrope with already. Sometimes less is more. North Melbourne Football Club Fan 7 is up next. Will Jackson be the first ruckman to win a Brownlow in ages? As when the ball goes to ground, he's another impactful mid and ran the legs off Sherry and McInerney. You can add Riley O'Brien to that list too. On Friday night, Jackson gathered another 23 disposals, 10 contested possessions and 2 clearances, while Riley O'Brien, who did win in the hit-out battle, gathered just 7 possessions himself. Better yet, Fremantle sit with 3 wins from 3 games and is one of the surprise teams to start 2024. Hayden Young is an addition to the on-ball unit, as well as solid contributions from Nat Fyfe and Matt Johnson, has this midfield humming compared to last season. With Jackson jumping all over the place and following up, they have a great mix of ball winners, strong bodies and explosiveness. When all 3 of these attributes are in your ruck, then you have a similar player to the last ruckman to win the Brownlow in Adam Goodes. Now Goodes in 2003 wasn't a full-time ruck, but portions of the season did see him feature predominantly in there. Just from a stats point of view, for the season, he averaged 18 disposals, 0.8 goals, 6 marks, and 12.5 hitouts per game. Besides marks, Jackson has the better of Goodes in every other stat line. Through 3 games, he's the 10th highest rated player in the AFL, averaging career highs in nearly every part of his game. In terms of votes, he was great against the Lions and will be in line for a vote or 2, and in round 2 against North Melbourne, he was the dominant player on the field. It will be hard to poll as a ruck, recent history has shown us, but he could be on 3 to 5 votes right now. But it's too bad Sean Darcy will come back in. It's the big factor in all of this that will block him from being a serious Brownlow contender. Even as a 50-50 ruck forward, Jackson would be up against it in a polling context. Following on with Luke Jackson, AFL Fantasy Tips and Tricks 4488 believes Fremantle should trade Sean Darcy out because of Jackson's form. I love this, but it will be hard to do. When was the last time an AFL team won the premiership with 2-star ruckman? I'm not sure it has ever happened, and we saw with Gawn and Grundy that it didn't work out. Not that it was a horrific fail at all, but it didn't take the team to the next level. Now, we just spoke about how special Jackson is and his unique talent. Darcy himself has some special about him. For his pure size, he can move well and his ruck work is first class. He is a best and fairest in 2021 and a best on ground in the Derby from 2022. But we all know his big weakness, his body. At 6'8" and 110 kilograms, which I have a feeling he may weigh a touch more, that power he possesses means his chance for injury is high. That's why he's had constant knee issues throughout his career. But when he plays as a solo ruck, he is no doubt a star. But is he better and more durable than Jackson? Not right now. If they can, Freo should ship him off. He just signed a 6-year contract that expires in 2030 and it would be on great money. Not only would Freo get a first round pick or two for him, but save a lot of salary to spend on more important needs. Geelong comes to mind and makes a lot of sense. The ruck has been an issue and Darcy played for the Geelong Falcons at under 18 level. Now, most other AFL clubs have set rucks right now, but another long shot option could be Hawthorn. It looks like Freo probably missed the boat this last off season to make a really good deal. Still, if one came up soon, trading Sean Darcy and getting more assets in, I think would benefit Fremantle in the long run. Lastly, Painting Folder 6485 says unless English is willing to accept below 900,000, the Dogs should trade him out, assuming they'd match the bid. His ruck work is so frustrating to watch and he's regularly beaten by more physical rucks. The draft capital and or plays that could fill gaps in our team would be invaluable, and it's been proven you don't need a superstar ruckman to win flags. Never has an all-Australian ruck been so divisive. It goes back to that ruck debate and if you need a high-level one to win flags. I can see it going both ways as a Bulldog supporter. English has been great the past few seasons, and although as Painting Folder pointed out, he can be a little soft in the ruck contest at times, he does do a lot of good things. He can clunk big marks, get clearances, and is essentially another midfielder at 208 centimetres. The good for me heavily outweighs his bad, but if he leaves the Bulldogs, they'll get great compensation and already have Sam Darcy and Rory Lobb in the wings. Sam Darcy is special, but if he stays, then the 1-2 punch with Darcy could become unstoppable. English is currently 26 and Sam Darcy is 20. There is a partnership to blossom for 6 to 8 seasons. I do think English will stay, but I get the thinking behind letting him go for a compensation pick or matching any offers to trade. The ruck stocks at the Bulldogs are healthy, and the value you would get for English would help boost other parts of the team. Thanks for watching another edition of Eyes on AFL. If you have any other AFL takes or opinions, feel free to leave them in the comments below to be used in a future video. See you all soon.